This is The Spot, a BYU-Idaho radio production where we talk about what you're talking about at BYU-Idaho. Today's hosts are me, Celeste Simmons,
Robert Harris,
Jesse Pruitt,
and special guest,
Olivia Pruitt.
The views and opinions of this podcast are not that of BYU-Idaho Radio or the university and are solely the opinions of the hosts. All right, thanks everyone for being on the podcast today. So today we're going to be talking about staying motivated in college. So we just are basically finishing our second week of school, going into our third for the fall semester. And so maybe you guys are already feeling a little bit unmotivated. I know I am a little bit because the beginning of the semester can be stressful. But before we get into that, how about we talk about what we're studying? Because I think that will kind of set a good precedence for, I don't know, how we stay motivated in regards to what we're studying. So I'll start. I'm a communications major. My emphasis is news and journalism. And yeah, this is my senior year, my last semester. So I definitely need all the motivational tips I can get throughout this episode.
I'm a communication major as well, but emphasizing on video production.
and I'm also studying communication with an emphasis in PR.
And I'm studying business management and marketing, and this is my junior year.
Awesome. We're all kind of studying similar things. I mean, three of us are studying communications. And business management, I feel like communications and business kind of ties together with like marketing stuff, right? A little bit. I have some friends that study like biology and chemistry, and sometimes I feel like guilty. I'm like, oh my gosh, like they are working so much harder than me. But at the same time, it's not harder, just like different work and different forms of like learning. So any major is hard, in my opinion. Like college is just hard in general. There's so much work to do, and a lot of it is based on like how we manage it. Because I feel like in high school it was a lot of like, okay, here's the worksheet, turn it in tomorrow, like do it tonight, whatever. But we have like specific deadlines like midnight or 8 a.m. or like right before class, whatever. So, and at least in my major, communications, I feel like it's very project based. So you can't really finish a whole project the night before. I guess you could, but that would be pretty miserable. So it's all about like time management, spacing it out, and doing your best work. So I'm sure we have all felt unmotivated at times throughout our college career. We've all been in college for a bit. Do any of you have a story about like when you felt unmotivated and what helped you get out of that rut?
Honestly, it's a bit of an everyday struggle, especially once the weather's bad like it is today. But I've struggled a lot. I've never really been a huge math person, and so with all the econ classes and the accounting classes that I've had to take, it's just something that I never really wanted to. But what I've found helps is really just support from my peers, whether that's like in my classes or like my roommates back at home, or honestly just the resources that we have on campus. Whenever I feel super frustrated in a subject, I like to shut down and just procrastinate as long as I can. But what's helped me is like actually seeking out those resources. So like going to tutoring or like asking my TA for a little bit of help, I feel like has made a world of difference and has allowed me to pass the class. So
Yeah, for sure. For me, one thing is I at times, I have moments where I'm definitely unmotivated, but for sure. And I also have a hard time focusing, period, just in general. I think that's just a common thing with everybody, or a lot of people, I should say. But I think as far as, staying motivated, talking to my faculty mentor really helps a lot because, my faculty mentor has years of experience, knows what they're doing. Obviously, they're working here, so they must know a little bit of something, especially with communication. With faculty mentors, it really helps to be able to get their insights on how I can, push myself a little bit farther and expand my talents and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of my bit there.
Yeah, I love what you guys both said. You both had very interesting things that you said. The tutoring helps a ton. We'll talk more about that and like the tutoring center that's available here on campus for free, and there's student tutors, and it's a really great place. And then talking with your faculty mentor, that's actually something that never really crossed my mind, but it's so true. Like we're surrounded by so many smart people that are like specifically smart in what we're studying. So I think kind of looking up to them, and even if, they don't specifically give us advice per se, but just seeing their example and being like, okay, if they did this, I can do it too. I can get through it. Having people around you that are also motivated helps a lot as well. And so what are some ways that keeps you guys motivated?
I don't know. I'm the type of person where it's like if I get up and I go do something else while I'm doing my homework, I'm never going to go back to it. And so I always have to like save it for later. Even if it's something crucial like water, I'm like, no, I need to like finish this and then I can go up and get my water. Or, like the more traditional examples, like hanging out with your friends afterwards, or just, having a moment to like not do schoolwork. So maybe just watch a little bit of TV or like play a game or go on a walk, play some sports, do something active. I always tend to use that just as like a kind of like a little treat hanging over my head. Like I can get through this so I can do this later.
Yeah, and I think for me, well, I don't know, I may be the only married person here, so this might be a little bit different for the rest of y'all. But for me, to stay motivated, my wife definitely helps me out a lot, and kind of going along with the rewards incentive system. She'll hey, if we get all our homework done, we can watch a little movie or go get a soda or something like that. Just small things like that really help me to stay motivated. Just kind of like what y'all have said, so similar but a little bit different because you have somebody that's with you 24/7. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not married. I don't think you two are married. So yeah, Jesse, you're the only one that's married. But I have heard that like because so many students are married at BYU-Idaho, obviously. But I've heard that a lot, like, oh yeah, once you're married, like it's so much easier to stay focused. And I'm like, that is probably so true because all of my roommates are my friends. Like I've been living with them for like 2 years now, and we distract each other a lot. So definitely finding those quiet spaces, like going to the library. I love the library. I just like find a little cubby or like find my own little section, and I literally like put on my headphones and I put like the lo-fi. I always look up on YouTube like the girl that has like the cat. Yeah, I love her. She is my best friend. Like I'm not even kidding. Every time I do homework, she's in my headphones. Yeah, she is amazing. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, I always look up Chill Cow because that's what the YouTube channel used to be called. It's like Chill Cow, but I think they've changed it since then. I've been listening to it for like 5 years now. I'm not even kidding. But yeah, if you look up that or just like girl, like study girl with cat or whatever, she'll pop up. And they have like a lot of different beats on there, just like instrumental beats. And I don't know, that music just like transforms my brain and it's like, okay, you're so smart, you're so dedicated, like it's time to study. And I just love listening to her while I do my, well, not her, but her music, whatever, while I do my homework. So now we're going to listen to some sound bites from people that I interviewed about what keeps them motivated in college. And then we'll kind of talk about what they talked about and continue the conversation from there.
For me, especially waking up early is really important in order to stay motivated because I start my day productive and it sets a precedent and it sets a tone for the whole rest of my day. So waking up early, getting something done, doing a task just helps me stay in that mindset of working hard and getting all my work done that I need to throughout the rest of the day. But I would say time management definitely starts with waking up early and getting the day off to a good note.
Something that helps me stay motivated in college is just thinking about my future. That college in the moment is kind of tough sometimes, doing your homework, having to go to class. But when you think about the future, about the end goal, it really motivates me personally to get all my stuff done, to work hard, because I know it's really going to benefit me in the future.
So what do you guys think about what they said?
I definitely agree with like keeping your future in mind. I feel like that's one of the only things that's like made me, not consider actually dropping out of school. Just because it gets really hard sometimes. And it's like, why am I doing this? And if you have that end goal in mind, I feel like it makes it a lot easier. It makes the whole process a lot more tolerable. And kind of like you said, like you're able to romanticize the process a little bit more. And time management is huge. I always struggle with this no matter what. It's like in a different form every single semester. But having like a 7:45 class, it's horrible. But having it is great because I get to wake up early. I get to kind of set aside that time for myself. Most of my roommates aren't awake, so there's no distractions there. But I do find that I have a lot more time in the day to do things. Granted, it's not really by choice, but it's still, I feel like I'm a lot more motivated as opposed to when I wake up, a lot later.
Right. Yeah, kind of following along with that. Scripture study is a big thing. I mean, I know it's like talked about all the time, with the church, read your scriptures, all that stuff, the primary answers kind of thing. But really, starting off your day by, studying the scriptures really helps to get me in that mindset of, okay, you know what, I can do things, I can do hard things, there's a lot on my plate, but yet, if I take it one thing at a time, that'll help me to, keep it going. So yeah.
Back in my freshman semester, my first semester here, I had a roommate who was a personal trainer, and what we would do is we would wake up really early and go to the gym. And I mean, I was tired, but I think that actually helped me, have the whole day ahead of me. Got my workout done in the morning, and I felt energized to keep doing schoolwork. And it did help that I had a class early that morning, so I had an excuse to go there instead of go back to sleep. So I think if you're that kind of person, working out in the morning's a good thing to do.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things I wanted to talk about with this topic for this episode. Both of those things, like scripture study and working out in the morning. I kind of set a goal for myself for this semester to like do both of those things before I start like work and classes in the morning. And so it's been hard because I have to like go to bed a little bit earlier and like be aware of that and not just like stay up watching TV with my roommates or whatever. And then waking up early is hard. And I think it's important that you do it gradually. It's not like, okay, if you typically wake up at like 10 a.m., you can't just be like, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. tomorrow and like, well, it's going to be great. Maybe like the gradual process will make it easier. But it's interesting because this week, I feel like I've been pretty good with that goal. I was good with it Monday through Thursday, and today it's Friday, and we're recording this episode. And this morning was a little bit of a different story. But yesterday I was feeling really good because I was like, wow, like I've actually met my goals. Like I've worked out every morning. I read my scriptures every morning, and every morning looked a little different. Like one day I didn't have a lot of time, so I just like listened to like a conference talk while I like walked on the treadmill. And not every morning is going to be like an hour scripture study and then like an hour workout and then like a high protein breakfast. Like not every morning is going to be perfect by any means. But as long as you're just hitting those goals in any way that you can, really sets up your day, because then I could just go to work and go to class and be like, I've gotten pretty much the most important things done in the morning. Now I can just spend the rest of my day focused on school and work and having fun with my friends. And that's felt really good. But then last night I went to the movies, and then I came home and I still had some homework, but I procrastinated it. And then it was literally midnight, and I was like, oh my gosh, I still have to finish that assignment. It's due at 8 a.m. I stayed up till like 12:30 finishing it. And then I had like this random task that my mom wanted me to do for her. So I was like on my phone making like this little Canva poster for her primary program. And I was like up super late doing that because I just really got into it. And then I went to bed almost at 2 a.m. And this morning I was like, there's no way I'm waking up and going to the gym. Like I need rest. So yeah, I do feel different this morning. I kind of feel like a little, I don't want to say a loser, but in comparison to my other mornings, like I don't feel as good as I did. And I don't feel as motivated. But okay, I feel like I'm rambling, but I have one more thing to say about that. But one thing is we're not going to be perfect, but we have to be forgiving of ourselves. Even though I didn't read my scriptures the way I wanted to this morning, I haven't even read them yet. I haven't worked out yet today. I can still decide, like right now in this moment, I'm still going to make it a good day just because I didn't start off the morning the way I wanted to. I can still have a motivational, strong, productive day. I think that is a big thing, is our mindset, like how we think about our day and how we're able to like change our focus. Yeah. What are some other things that you guys like to do to stay motivated?
For me, I mean, I know it sounds pretty basic, but taking breaks in between tasks really helps. Because obviously you can keep just go all day, but then you burn yourself out. You burn yourself out big time, and then you really don't stay motivated. So for me, taking small little breaks, whether it's reading a part of a book, because I love reading. Reading's a big thing for me. I'm a big book nerd, so just reading like a chapter or two of a book, or even just a couple pages, can help me, reset my mind a little bit and be, okay, move on to the next task and go from there. So yeah.
Yeah, there's something called the Pomodoro effect. I think that's how you say it. But basically what it is you study for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, study for 25 minutes, and you do that for a whole hour. And then once that's up, you take like a 15-minute break, and then you do it again for an hour. That I've done that a lot actually, and that's really helpful because like it's just 25 minutes of focusing. Like even like earlier, Olivia was saying like even if I have to drink water, like I don't do until I finish. It's like the same thing. It's like if I have to like get up and go to the bathroom or something, like no, like I have 5 more minutes, like let's just finish it and then I'll do it during my break or whatever I have to do. That's really motivating because then you have like a 5-minute brain break, get up, move around, go on your phone, whatever, and then after that like put on do not disturb, just like 25 minutes of pure focus. Because we can do anything, like studying for 25 minutes is not too much time, but it's pretty effective.
Right. I definitely agree. It's kind of like feeds into that. But it's like sectioning off the time for the different things that you need to get done, I feel like is super effective for me. When I look at all of my assignments all together, it's a little stressful. I'm taking 16 credits right now, so it's not the end of the world, but it's definitely
near the end of the
definitely a
world.
lot.
It's a lot.
Right. And so when I open up my dashboard and I see all that, I'm like, oh my goodness, there was no way. Like there are not enough hours in the day for that. But when I really break it down and I like section out like time, I'm like, okay, like I'll spend an hour and a half on accounting or maybe like 2 hours. And then I'll take my like Spanish exam at like 5 and get done with it 5:30, 6 maybe. When I break it up like that and then leave time in between to do things that I enjoy or just like other things that I need to get done but aren't as stressful, I feel like it's definitely a lot more motivating as opposed to just working down that list and like chopping them off, or like I guess not chopping them off, but getting those off of my like dashboard. So yeah, just breaking it up, piecing it or separating it into little pieces makes it a lot more manageable and keeps you motivated.
I found myself when I'm really unmotivated, I'd text a friend of mine telling them to tell me to get something done, because I feel like if you have that ulterior motive, then you'll get something done. If you have someone telling you you need to get something done, I find myself actually wanting to get something done.
Yeah, the accountability is huge. And that's actually something we can talk about that ties into the tutoring center on campus. So I used to work at the tutoring center. I worked in the reading center section. And there a lot of people are like, what does the reading center mean? But we don't do anything really with reading. We just helped people. We help students with time management, with meeting their goals for their grades, even like goals outside of their grades. Basically, it was just like a life skills tutoring center. And that was a huge one, was accountability. So we would be like their accountability partner. Like, okay, when you come back on Wednesday to your second appointment, like make sure that you have this done and like you'll be accountable to me. And that really helped them to feel motivated to do it, because even if they didn't want to do it for themselves, they were doing it because their tutor was expecting them to do it. So find someone that you can be accountable to. Tell people your goals and you're more likely to get them done. Have you guys ever been to the tutoring center and used it?
Oh yeah, plenty of times. Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you feel like it helped you?
It depends. Because I know in my experience, because at least when I went to the tutoring center, it was for Chinese. So, which is like that's a beast and a half trying to learn Chinese. But I think really the big thing is kind of like what you were saying, you're holding yourself accountable. I like to go by the words of, you get what you put in, you kind of thing. So if you put in everything you've got, then like in turn you'll receive what you've put in back, and it's quite a relief when you can really say for yourself, hey, I was able to accomplish these things, and therefore, I'm a better person because of it, kind of thing. And now it's really basic, but that's just kind of how I've thought of it when I've gone to the tutoring center. It's been really helpful in that way to really say, hey, you know what? Yeah, they're here to help me, but really it's on me to really get those things done. So.
I use the presentation practice center a good bit, not just because it was required for my public speaking class, but I went in thinking I'd get nothing out of it because I was like, oh, I know how to speak. Come on now. But it was actually really good to have, someone else who will like tell you, who not criticize you, but give you constructive criticism. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. About your speech and just how you present in general. I thought that was really helpful. And, yeah, it was just good to have, because I would never go to help for something like that. I don't know. I don't like presenting to people I know. So I think if you have someone, if it's a complete stranger, I think it actually somehow helps.
Yeah, it does make it a little bit easier when you're like, I don't really care what you think of me. I don't care if you think my work is bad or good or whatever, because I will probably never see you again. Yeah, getting feedback from people like that is like less scary than getting it from like a friend or someone that you're close to. Yeah, just a plug to the tutoring center. I mean, if you're struggling with motivation, the tutoring center is a great place to go. Olivia is actually a tutor there now at the writing center, right? You just started. So you can go to the writing center, get some good feedback on your essays from Olivia. But yeah, especially, I mean, my plug is like for the reading center. Like the reading center was so motivational for me, and I was helping other students. Like I was a tutor, but it even helped me a lot because I would teach them skills, and I was like, man, I could really apply those skills in my own life. And my grades really improved while I worked there. And there's a lot of just good, like, reading comprehension, time management, like all of those things, like you name it, and the reading center can help you. So definitely check out the tutoring center. If you're struggling with school to get any help with like motivation and raising your grades, the tutoring center is there to help you. And I think you just go online to BYU-Idaho, and then there's like a tutoring center button, I'm pretty sure. You just click on it.
Yeah,
right?
and it takes you to your iPlan or whatever, and you can
Yeah.
request to do that. So.
And then it like shows you your classes and like which tutoring center is like right for your classes and everything, and then you just sign up. It's pretty easy.
It's super accessible. It's something that I didn't really take into account until I actually started working there. But really, they're there to help you with anything. Right now, I'm working with a lot of the 106 students, and so it's stuff like basic grammar and just like formatting sentences and paragraphs. And for me, I know what always holds me back, I guess, from getting that help is just like an ego. And I'm always like this is stupid, like I should already know this stuff. So like I'm not going to go and embarrass myself by asking for help. But that's literally what we're being paid for. That's what people are volunteering for, is to help you with that, because it's like that's a passion of theirs or that's a skill of theirs, and they want to be able to teach you to do the same thing. And so it's like if you're ever struggling with something, just check it out. Try going at least once. And if it's not your cup of tea, that's fine. But oftentimes I feel like the first time that I go and kind of drop that ego, I end up learning a lot more than I even signed up for. So I would really recommend, if you're struggling with anything or even if you're doing well in something, just scheduling an appointment and seeing, I guess, how your skills can be improved.
Yeah, definitely check out the tutoring center. So I'm sure there have been many times when we have failed in life and in college, whether that be a class or just a big assignment, or maybe we just feel like a failure to ourselves. What helps you guys, or maybe you have some experiences that you could share of times when you failed, but you've come out on the other side of it resilient?
For myself, I always think of myself as like a big failure all the time. I'm always failing. Doesn't matter what I do. It always fails. I mean, not to say I'm putting down myself, per se, but, academics have never been my strong suit. I've always struggled a little bit with strong things, and that's why I've gone to the tutoring center and things like that to help me out with those kind of things. But as far as failure goes, there's been times where I've had to retake some classes, which is like, oof, yeah, hurts the ego a little bit. It's like, man, I just want to, graduate faster. But, sometimes it doesn't work out like that. And oftentimes, when I have to, retake a class or something like that, I step back and say to myself, okay, what did I do that didn't work out so well with this? Where would that go? And from that, I can kind of formulate a little bit of a plan. I'm like, okay, this is how I can do it. And usually for me, the biggest thing was time management for sure. Being able to manage my time so I can, get my assignments done in a proper manner. And so, really just by having a retrospect and looking back on, specific pain points that you've come across can really help. What's the word? Can really help you to get back on track and stay motivated and, be a little bit more fired up for the next semester.
Yeah, I think everyone's experienced failures, whether it's academically or, in a job or even with relationships. But I feel like for me, practice is a huge part of that, of like overcoming that failure. I wasn't necessarily failing the class, but I was not understanding any of the material. There's a course that business majors have to take. It's called Business Fundamentals, and it's all on this simulation, so it's CAPSIM. And the professor's not allowed to tell you how to do it. The tutors aren't really allowed to tell you how to do it either. They can give you like very vague advice, but it was something where I was like, I have no clue how to use this. Like, I don't even know what the objective is. I've read the manual like 8 times and none of it makes any sense because I don't know what those buttons are and I don't know what that word means. And so it was a really stressful period for me because I'm just like, I have no clue what I'm doing. I can't get any support for it. Like, I don't know what to do. And so the only thing that really helped me overcome that was practice. And the practice that I did get was going to the tutoring center regularly. And even though they weren't able to really give me an answer to necessarily aid me, I feel like just having that consistency piece of, going to the tutoring center, I think like twice or 3 times a week, and just sitting there to complete that work was something that was a game changer for me. Because I know initially, like, I didn't do that and I was just lost. But the more that I stayed consistent with it, the more that I just like, I guess, had a drive to do it, really just helped me, I guess, pull me out of that kind of slump that I was in.
Right. I think, it goes to the point of like, thinking outside the box. Oftentimes we do have like all these great, wonderful resources here on campus, but yet, if we can't find the answers there, where else do we look to? Could it be, ChatGPT or, or just, all sorts of different things, for me, maybe old-fashioned, books too. Sometimes, even books that aren't really related to to the subject I'm studying. Self-help books can help with that. And of course, I'm not saying read more, but it helps sometimes.
Yeah, I love that. The self-help books. I love self-help books. They're awesome. I learned so much from them, and I'm able to implement a lot of good habits in my life. I also like watching YouTubers on YouTube that are like motivational. Like I just found this girl that my sister showed me. She's like a senior in high school and she just like vlogs her life basically. So some videos are just fun to watch, but she's also very motivational because she wakes up before high school, which blows my mind. She wakes up like 4:30 and goes to the gym at 5 and then like works out and then like does all her stuff before school. Where I'm like in high school, I was not motivated like at all to do stuff like that, or like I was in seminary super early and I like could barely make it to that. But she's like super inspirational, motivational, so even just watching one of her videos gets me ready, like, oh yeah, like if she can do it, I can do something like that. I don't want to wake up at 4:30 in the morning and go to the gym personally, but if that works for you, then that's awesome. But just like, yeah, surrounding yourself with people, looking up to people that are motivational figures, reading books about motivational figures or the habits that they use in their lives helps a lot too, because once you see that other people can do it, you can kind of gain the confidence to be like, I can do it too. Like, why not? And yeah, those help a lot. But thanks guys for coming on the episode today and talking about motivation in college, because it gets tiring and it gets hard and not every day is the same. Every day is different with schedules and everything. But you're all doing great, and I hope that our advice can help some students out there feel motivated. You can do it. Set a good routine. Make good daily habits. Time management is huge with college, and go to the tutoring center on campus. They can help you a lot too. So yeah, thanks guys. You've been listening to The Spot, a production of BYU-Idaho Radio. Today's hosts were me, Celeste Simmons,
Robert Harris.
Jesse Pruitt.
and special guest.
Olivia Pruitt.
The views and opinions of this podcast are not that of BYU-Idaho Radio or the university and are solely the opinions of the hosts. Producers were the hosts with supervision by Brandon Isle. Our theme music is Finding Happiness by DJ Quads and The Perpetual Ticking of Time by Artificial Music. To listen to more episodes of The Spot, like and follow us on social media or visit our website byui.edu/radio and click podcasts. Be sure to subscribe to the BYU-Idaho Radio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever you get your podcasts. And also leave a review of the show and leave a comment on what we should talk about next.